Yeah. Um, it's to me, it's the greatest stage in sports. I mean, I've been following the NBA since I was in grade school. And I grew up in a place where you couldn't get games on TV. You could only get hockey games up in northern New York State. So we had to drive to go see games that were in the playoffs or the finals or even the regular season. So, but this is the greatest stage. It's the greatest opportunity. It's also the greatest challenge because we're going against an opponent that really, on metrics, has really changed the game. And so we got our work cut out for us.
Where did you drive to, just out of curiosity?
We had to drive from Lisbon, New York to Ogdensburg, New York, which is only about an 8-minute drive, but we just didn't have cable.
Oh, okay.
We had a thing, you turn the rotor in the direction and the antenna would move, and it would either go towards Kingston, Ontario or Watertown, New York. And back in those days, we only got the CBS affiliate, and they didn't have the NBA back in those early years. So, it was. But we got Hockey Night in Canada, and I was a big Canadians and Maple Leafs fan.
You mentioned the Thunder, obviously, when you played them last time, so that's the best team on the planet right now. I mean, just you talk about the Thunder changing the game and just the depth they have and what makes them great.
Well, really both sides of the ball. Their depth of great defenders is staggering. Really, you talk about. I mean, Shea's a great scorer, but he's also a great defender too. And you got Jalen Williams from Santa Clara. You got Dort. You got Caruso, and a bunch of other guys that people don't talk about that can really defend too. Wiggins, Kendrick Williams, Casey Walls, all these guys, are just great competitors. So, and then they've got the rim protection to go along with it. So it'll be a daunting challenge, but a great one.
I know you just rattled off a bunch of the individuals. What do they do at a team level that makes their defense so good every night?
Well, they have great coaching. I mean, that's obvious. Mark Dagnall is a guy that I've just had so much respect for over the last 5 years. Not just because of what they did last year and this year, but just how he's developed that roster and how they've developed their organizational philosophy. It's been a master class, So their schemes are super solid, and they've got change-ups that they throw at you, with trapping and zone and all kinds of things, cross-matching. I mean, you name it. And so it's going to present some different challenges than we've seen.
We're probably seeing Tyrese embrace pressure. When he first got here, he was saying, "You guys took a chance on me." He wanted to deliver for the franchise. Obviously, more work to be done, but just seeing him navigate that over the last few years.
Well, he came into this really leaning into the opportunity. New start. I'm all in from day one. I'm going full bore. I want to learn. Coach me hard. I know there's going to be ups and downs. I'm gonna navigate it. He's a guy that you can always talk to about the hard times and the good times. And so there's just been so much over the last 2 years in particular. And if you look back to the year previous to the last two, I mean, we were 5 games over 500 in January when we stepped onto the court in New York to play the Knicks. And then Miles had a back thing, and all of a sudden he couldn't play. And and O'Shea was in the rotation, and then his hamstring flared up, and all of a sudden we had like 8 guys, and James Johnson was tossed into the starting lineup, and then we went like 2-9 and fell out of it, So that's how fragile this whole thing is, and I think Ty understands that. I know that when you talk to Pascal about these kinds of things, I mean, Pascal's a guy that had to cut his teeth in the G League for 2 or 3 years before even getting a chance to become a consistent rotation player in Toronto. So, he has great appreciation for what it takes to not just get to the finals, but to get to the playoffs at all. And so, we're young, they're younger, but both teams are relatively young, and I hope the world watching is enthusiastic about the way these two franchises play, because they both play a style that is so pure from a basketball standpoint.
Is there about Ty embracing the opportunity and Pascal going through it? It's like almost everybody on this team has gone through something basically that led them to kind of embrace this opportunity. Aaron being in Boston, Andrew being in Instagram, and stuff like that. How much do you think that's kept this group together and driven this group, that everybody's got sort of something that works as kind of a chip?
Well, we've all been doubted at some point in time in our lives, and then you got to look in the mirror, and you got to face the doubts, and you decide how you're gonna go forward. Are you gonna fight through and find a way, or are you gonna find an excuse? So our team is a bunch of guys that have found a way, in many, many different kinds of situations. There are a lot of stories about people from different backgrounds. You talk about what Ben Mathurin went through growing up, and Miles has had a real interesting background. T.J. McConnell, our group has got a lot of great stories, as does theirs. So, and listen, we had Alex Caruso in a free agent camp in Dallas in 2015, and passed on bringing him to Summer League. They've got great stories too, and so I think it helps make this a compelling matchup. We know what we're up against in terms of what the expectation is as to who's going to be the better team, but that's all part of it.
You mentioned a couple more guys you faced. Guards that have been really tough covers, good at getting downhill, drawing fouls, getting into their spots. What makes him specifically so difficult to guard? What is maybe have you seen him grow really into that role in the last couple of years?
This guy was born to be great. You can just tell. He has a demeanor. He has a coolness, an attitude. He's unflappable. He knows who he is, and he has great belief in himself. And so, from afar, I've been watching this guy, and it's pretty breathtaking. It looks like the guy didn't even break a sweat. And it's really hard to fathom how difficult it is to score 30 points in one men's league game, let alone doing it every game for 2 years in a row in the NBA. Just think about it. It's unbelievable.
One more on Ty. As a head coach, how has he challenged you a bit, not in a bad way, just in general, when you're playing such an unconventional style? It's kind of unique, and I don't know if anybody can say they play Tyrese Halliburton. He's very unique.
That was what drew us to him. They're just, and you talk about a guy that's been doubted. When I was in Dallas, we were one of the few teams that thought he was the best player in the draft, and we tried like hell to get him and move up, and everything else, and we just couldn't do it. I mean, and when I tell you that Mark Cuban tried everything, you know, when Mark puts his mind to something, he can usually figure something out. You know, I mean, look, we ended up getting Luka Doncic at the third pick. You know, so he and Donnie Nelson were ahead of the curve on that one. But we just simply could not find a way to get Tyrese. And so Ty is different. There's just so many different things about him, and I've learned so much over the years just about, you know, players that appear to have quirky elements to their game, and the importance of looking at what they can do, and not focusing on what they may not be able to do particularly well. It was clear when we got Ty that we needed to surround him with shooting, with toughness, and depth, and resources, you know. And he knew the work that he needed to do. He knew he needed to get stronger, and he knew that he was going to go through the gamut of ups and downs on this journey. So really, really proud of how he has just stayed the course through difficult times. I mean, the beginning of the year this year, no one will ever know how difficult that was for him. But through it all, he may have missed one game in the first 30. He kept playing, kept believing in himself, kept engaging his teammates, kept a great attitude. There's nothing more you can ask for.
Rick, the Simon family and the Pacers organization is flying out all the employees out to Oklahoma City for games 1 and 2. How special is that? How special is this organization, and how nice will it be to have that group out there to support you guys?
Yeah, it's an awesome gesture by Mr. Simon and the Simon family and Mr. Rails. You know, everyone is being allowed, not just one person, but, you know, 3 or 4. You know, it's an amazing gesture, and so there'll be more than one plane going. They'll be going for each of the first 2 games, and so it's awesome. It just shows how much they care about the people in the organization. When we went to Paris this year, you know, the league gave us a certain stipend for going on the trip, but they supplied, you know, an unusually large plane, and we brought extra people. And, you know, on the whole, the Pacers lost a lot of money on that trip, but we had a great time. And so here, this is another great opportunity. They did this in 2000 when we went. I was an assistant coach, so it's great. And you know, we're looking forward to the opportunity to play on this stage, but also to have our family join us and be a part of it.
Speaking of 2000, what do you remember about just being a part of that group and that team like the Raj just getting that place?
Yeah, it was great, but it's in the past. It's in the past. I'm not big on waxing sentimental on things. You know, we got to look at what's happening right now and what's happening next. And so, and you know, as in 2000, we have another daunting opponent.